Tony Khan has been running his mouth recently, and because of it, companies are beginning to run away from AEW, and also the inner feeling, the inner superstars within the company are not feeling too clever about those Harvey Weinstein comments. So we're going to talk about Dazn first, because of course Dazn, they signed a 3-year deal with AEW around a year ago, but no, not anymore. Dazn did have a clause in that where they could leave the multi-year contract. I believe it was a 3-year contract, 4-year contract, but there was an option to leave it if it wasn't performing, and they weren't. So, I mean, to go further into that, Dazn just dropped them 1 year into a multi-year contract for underperforming on their platform. But that's bad news. I wish they were performing better numbers for all of wrestling. Was that Brian Alvarez? No, actually, it was Peter Milano. So that guy, Peter Milano, saying that. I mean, again, it doesn't really surprise me. Apparently, the Dazn numbers were so bad, and the only good numbers they did was for the first month of Collision. And what does that tell you? And a few pay-per-views here and there. It just tells you that CM Punk was on the first month of Collision, and therefore that's why they were doing well. I mean, that doesn't surprise me in the slightest that they were doing well during it. But Days On, man, that's all for like boxing, and with TBS and TNT, Tony obviously mustn't have thought it was worth it giving DAZN all the money in the world to do it. But apparently, the comments are not going down too well with the Harvey Weinstein. And this is what people in AEW are feeling, according to Brian Alvarez. He says, I talked to people in both companies, and I will say this about what he said. I can tell you from talking to people in AEW, obviously WWE people thought it was ridiculous that he said it, but I heard people in AEW saying the same thing, a lot of it. End of quote. Right. Brian Alvarez, Dave Meltzer, all them jabronis, they talk a load of shit. I mean, Dave Meltzer said Drew McIntyre signed a 3-year deal, but considering it's that Dave Meltzer said it, maybe Drew McIntyre signed a 30-year deal. I'm not too sure in that, but him turning around saying along the lines of, yeah, they thought it was ridiculous in WWE, but in AEW they think the same. It's like he's brandishing like the whole company as in like it could cover anybody, and Meltzer does the same thing. And it's like the same thing back in the day. Oh, Vince McMahon gave me a wee phone call to talk about the draft. Aye, dead on. You know, McMahon's never going to confirm that, especially now in 2024 with all that court case drama that's going against McMahon. That's never going to happen. Right, that's never in a million years going to come back to talk fruition. But big Brian Alvarez then went on to say about WWE. He says, when people in WWE, when people in AEW, we have a lot of friends in WWE, see Tony accusing the entire company that the entire company is evil and that we are battling an evil company, a lot of people take exception to that. The truth is in the middle. It's not only Vince McMahon, but it's certainly not the entire company. End of quote there for Brian Alvarez. So Brian Alvarez is sitting there saying that, here, Vince McMahon is Harvey Weinstein 2.0, but there's also other people in the company. Then he's like, it's not the entire company. Vince McMahon has not been found guilty of anything. What happened? Innocent until proven guilty. What happened to that? Well, it's because Vince McMahon doesn't like these marks, doesn't like all this flippy dippy wrestling, hasn't liked it, that never, let them into the business, so to speak. It's pathetic that Tony Khan said this, and you've even got people like Brian Alvarez and Meltzer, defending him, agreeing. I was like, oh, he only got it a wee bit right. It's not everyone in the company. It's Vince McMahon and a few others, but that's it. So what, are they referring to John Laurinaitis? Are they referring to other people? Who are they? I mean, there's a lot of people in WWE, right? And he's saying it's not only Vince McMahon. Well, who is it then? If it's not only Vince McMahon, who's the other people in the company? You've got AEW hiring Chris Jericho, the allegations against him, NDAs being signed against him. Hell, you've got Ric Flair. I'm sure there's been, well, no, not that I'm sure, like, I'm guessing that there has been all allegations against Ric Flair. People like that. Other people that have been hired in AEW. So for Tony Khan to come out and say, but every company, right, is going to have people within it that's received allegations against them. That's just the way of the world in 2024. But Tony Khan to come out and say something like this, and you've actually got the cheek of Brian Alvarez and Dave Meltzer, they actually come out and fucking defend them for coming out and saying comments like that. Baffling. Does it surprise me? No, because at the end of the day, Tony Khan's probably given all these marks like 10 million each, and that's saying something.